Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and wouldn't you know it, the initiative cards are here and I've managed to get my hands on a playset of these things, so I'm super excited to try them out. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com and we'll be taking a look at them after round 1. So, my good friend Michael H. donated originally to see Initiative Twin in action, but someone else also donated, and so Michael was kind enough to just kind of let me take the wheel with a different initiative deck. So, we are going to be playing a mono-white sort of dungeon stompy deck list. Our goal is to take the initiative, and similarly to some of the decks that I've been playing with Caves of Chaos Adventurer, spiral the game out of control. This time around, instead of having the fastest possible clock with things like Goblin Rabblemaster and Winota threatening to win the game instantly, our goal is to slow the game down with hate bears like Thalia, Archon of Emeria, and honorary hate bear enchantment Suppression Field, which says activated abilities cost 2 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. Now, this might not be immediately obvious why it's good, but the answer is fetch lands. Those are activated abilities. So if you're playing a turn 1 suppression field and your opponent has a handful of Scalding Tarns, they're not doing anything. They're just going to be stuck there, and you might get multiple time walks out of this effect. So the goal is to play some sort of hate card on turn 2, curving it either into another hate card on turn 3, or to start getting these initiative cards, or the similar mechanic, the Monarch, going quickly, and then ride that cumulative card advantage to a win. So, for those of you who have listened to the Eternal Glory podcast episode, I've talked about this archetype a lot there, but Initiative simultaneously fixes 2 of the problems that this deck had in the past. Number 1, the mana base was a little bit rough. And the first part of the Undercity, which is the dungeon that you get when you take the initiative, allows you to get a basic land to hand. So if you use something like a City of Traders early and you're going to end up losing that, it's less of a big deal because you go and get a basic land. Another problem with this deck is Cavern of Souls tries to do a lot of heavy lifting, but like, this is a spirit, this is a human, this is an orc cleric, this is an elemental. Cavern of Souls is a great land in this deck, with the caveat that sometimes when you're playing against non-blue decks, it's not going to be quite the mana fixing that you want it to be for multiple spells. So when you play an initiative card, it doesn't matter if you played it off Cavern of Souls, you can get your basic white source to cast your other card, and that's very convenient and very helpful. We do have another relatively new card in here. I'm trying out Anointed Peacekeeper today. It's a 3/3 with Vigilance, not when, as it enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Doesn't have to be one that's in their hand, any card name. Spells your opponent's cast with the chosen name cost 2 more to cast, and activated abilities of sources with the chosen name cost 2 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. So, this can mess with fetch lands, this can mess with planeswalkers, this can mess with the removal spell that's sitting in your opponent's hand. Again, if you buy time, the initiative is going to take over the game, and I'll zoom in on that dungeon card as soon as we get into a match that has it. As far as the sideboard goes here, things are relatively unexciting. It's the stuff that you would expect to see from a graveyard of a deck like this. We're trying to patch up holes versus things that can very much go under our turn 2 hate, and Leyline of the Void and Mindbreak Trap are supposed to do that. And otherwise, there's only a few cards for fair matchups because we're hoping that the Initiative and the Monarchy are going to go and let us win the fair matchups most of the time. All right, with that said, I think let's go ahead and jump into a league here. I'm very excited about this. I said this on the podcast as well, but I think this deck list is going to change a lot very quickly. So if you have questions or why isn't this being played or you have suggestions, please, please, please throw those in the comments because I am going to be playing more decks like this for sure on the channel. Let's battle. All right, bad news for me. My first hand is an auto mulligan. These, by the way, are in the deck because you can imprint them with Chrome Mox. This is a slow, unimpressive hand. This may be worth mulliganing. Like, I have 3 lands, so I can play a turn 2 spell into a turn 3 spell. I don't really know if this is good. How many draws do I have to do a cool turn 1 play? Got Spirit Guides. No, I don't have Spirit Guide. Sorry, I meant Chrome Mox. I've got Chrome Mox and Ancient Tomb, so I have 8 draws to really, really, really make this hand pop. Does a lot of self-damage. I think I'm going to keep this and pitch the Suppression Field, which is probably just too slow on the draw if I'm not playing it on turn 1. But this one is also borderline a mulligan. My opponent's on their full 7. I don't like seeing that. That could mean that this could get wastelanded. I want to play this out on turn 1 because I don't want to just lightning bolt myself multiple times versus an unknown opponent. This is just awkward. C'est la vie, though. I think it is worth exposing myself to wasteland to not take 3 points of damage. Oh, we might be playing against Delver instead. Okay. Good to know. Or sorry, we might be playing against Show and Tell instead. I am going to play Chalice here. No, maybe I play Thalia here. Thalia attacks his Show and Tell. Chalice completely is ignoring... Show and Tell completely ignores Chalice. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to cast Thalia. I don't necessarily think it's going to resolve, though. Alright, we have a response, which is likely to be Brainstorm. Oh! I've played the wrong card, now that I see this Tundra. Oh, okay. So we are probably actually playing against a control deck, then. Daze is weird for a control deck, though. Well, let's see. Another Tundra to ponder. Are we like a blue, white, red, third path iconoclast deck? That makes sense to me. No shuffle there. I'd love to draw another basic land. Hello, Amaria's Call. I'm going to pay this for life. And I'm going to try to resolve a Chalice of the Void here. Either this gets another counterspell, or it resolves and is pretty respectable. And I think it's worth playing around a Daze here. Okay, it has resolved. I'm very happy with that. This does not mean the game is over, but it does mean good things for me. Prismatic Ending. Sure. So now kind of the question is, which one of my 3-drops do I play on my turn? I really don't want the White Plume Adventurer to eat a force. Oh, that's interesting. Chalice tapped Amaria's Call, and then play 3-drops around Daze for the rest of the game. Murktide Regent's sort of a kick in the pants, but not like Anointed Peacekeeper is super gonna beat Murktide Regent. Let's Chalice around single Daze. See if it works. Alright, it has resolved. I will not pay the life for this. And we'll see where this goes from here. Still waiting to see a threat. It's fucking Murktide Regent. Alright. Oh? No. Not Murktide Regent. It's a Predict instead. Okay. So they've milled a Bolt, draw 2. Okay, and then they can fetch, put an appropriate card on top, and then play Murktide Regent afterwards. Leon. Yeah. I mean, let's draw Solitude or Palace Jailer. I don't know that I can play that Cavern of Souls right now. My situation is dire. Just very bad versus this Murktide Regent. If I play White Plume, I'm going to take a beating from this Murktide. That might eventually get bigger as well. But doing this allows me to make a land drop so that I can potentially play 2 cards next turn. This might be important. Alright. I am taking the initiative. And when I do this, I get access to this dungeon. Feel free to pause the video if you need to take a good look at this. But right now, we're just using this to grab a basic plains and call it a turn. So my opponent is going to get to hit me for 8 and then take the initiative, so I'm not going to get to trigger it on my upkeep, which is a shame. Alright, there's Prismatic Ending, which I knew was coming. I take 8. My opponent takes the initiative. So they can fetch a basic if they have one. Okay, they do have an island, sure. There's Dragon Rage Channeler. And this may keep me from taking the initiative if they just jump block, at which point I am deterministically dead next turn. Yeah, I'm basically dead to this. See if my opponent chumps here. Yeah, they do chump to keep the initiative, so they get to put 2 counters on this thing, and then I'm dead. Like, I can play Anointed Peacekeeper to take a look at their hand. I guess I'm fine with doing that. It shows this card, but, like, I will show 1 card to get to look at 4 of my opponent's cards. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, okay, they're gonna brainstorm and hide their good stuff. Annoying. Yeah, I hate how uninteresting Archetype Regent games are. Yeah, okay. That's fine. You win. Okay. I get access to a few more removal spells. I have to decide whether or not I'm going to play, like, Leyline of the Void and Council's Judgment. I don't even know how much I like Chalice of the Void in this matchup, honestly. I think I'm not interested in playing Suppression Field here. I think that is going to get me these 4 cards, and then I have to decide whether or not I want to Leyline. It seems reasonable. I don't really want to cut any of my creatures. Like, if I cut creatures, it's probably Thalia. Like, I'm willing to do this or this and just be more removal dense. So this is 6, 8 removal spells for it, plus kind of Seasoned Dungeoneer to ignore it. I could do this and play the ley lines. Just, like, very awkward because I wouldn't mulligan to ley lines, and unlike in the mono black decks, I can't actually cast it. Leave me a little light on early plays. Gonna try this out. This attempts a turn 1 initiative card that allows me to play my 2nd land drop. I'm going to keep this. Alright. Romox. This is going to imprint the Council's Judgment here. That's the hardest card to cast currently for me. And we're going to try throwing White Plume Adventurer out there. Nice. Very important taking that early. I've got a Plains, which means I have 4 mana next turn. I can get to 5 mana if I play Chrome Mox. I'm not sure that that's something that I am going to want to do, but it is something that I am allowed to do. Alright, so I will venture into the Forge. Gives me 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature. Alright, am I willing to give up one of these cards to play around Daze? It's pretty pricey to do so. It's also just incredibly strong if either one of these cards resolves. I think I'm willing to try it. Okay, that was fast. I think I'll play Jailer. Alright, 1, 2. I'll tap this differently. I'll leave the basic planes up. Alright, there's Jailer. Nice. Okay, yep. Good game. 1 on turn 2. Yeah, let's keep doing that. I believe this hand does not have enough mana and is too slow. I think I would rather mulligan this one. This is a Leyline of the Void hand that is slow. It has 2 mana. Is this reasonable? On 6, probably, but I'm really not happy with this. I'm going to keep this and hope that I've bought enough time. I think throwing back Anointed Peacekeeper. Archon actually might be worse on the draw, and it's a weird creature type. It's not a human. Yeah, actually, let's throw Archon back for that reason. Alright, I get an opening Leyline of the Void, which hopefully buys me some time. Okay. Opponent's immediately fetching, so we might see a turn 1 Dragon Rage Channeler. No, it's Ponder. It is a Shuffle, so that's good news for me. Let's play this. It's not worth taking any points of life here. And see if my opponent has a threat. They also could have a Brazen Bar. Okay, this is fantastic for me, actually. Because now I can play, like, Anointed Peacekeeper into Anointed Peacekeeper uncounterably, and then throw Palace Jailer into the mix at some point. So I guess I'm a little scared of, like, a third path Iconoclast type card. Like, a threat that does not involve the graveyard hitting play this turn specifically, before I can make it more expensive. With this little gentleman right here. I guess like a Teferi bouncing a Leyline or something would be kind of rough. Or a True Name Nemesis. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really care about you. All right, yeah, this is the price of boarding these in. Maybe we'll draw Chrome Mox at some point. Name human, and I think I am just supposed to play out one of these rather than go for the Council's Judgment. Note that this is an as, not a when, so I can immediately price my opponent out from playing a removal spell on this in this turn cycle. Oh. Awkward. I guess I named Teferi so that my opponent can't immediately bounce this leyline or this creature. Okay. Alright. I've named that Teferi. Expect we'll see an end of turn brainstorm for the Surveil. Opponent has junked a Daze. Yeah, that card is not looking great at this stage of the game. I agree. We'll see. Oh, we're not firing off an immediate expressive iteration. Yeah, goodbye, Murktide Regent. Get out. My opponent may now be shuffling away this Teferi since it costs more. It's a little hard to say because it is like an answer to Leyline. But there's a lot of worlds where Meltdown and Teferi are now gone. Ooh, no shuffle there. Ooh, the Wasteland on that Cavern's very strong. Okay, so I have no playable cards here. Crash in for 3. This is Vigilant, so it will serve offensive and defensive purposes, but then I'm stuck for a little while. Alright, this Brainstorm's gone. I'm not fully going to cross out any of these cards, but I don't think the Meltdown's there. First Expressive Iteration. Ooh, a Prismatic Ending to exile. Well, I guess if you're about to play Expressive Iteration, like, it's reasonable to specifically dig for your land drop. Okay, sure. So this will be no attacks here. And I just need to draw some land. Hard nope. Thank you, deck. Very cool. We've got opponent to 12. I'm still probably favored, but that gap is going to close quickly. Yeah. So if my opponent still has access to Teferi, they just bounce this Leyline out of play, and then I am in the shit. Because Dragon Rage Channeler plus a couple of expressive iterations will get out of control very quickly. Yeah. They topped whatever card they just had there, which is bad news for me. I think I've lost this one. Oh my god, okay. I'll discard a Leyline here. There's a Teferi plus, and then we're going to continue doing this Song and Dance. Predict in the Exile Zone. Seems good. This is a combo. So they look at whatever they see with Dragon Rage Channeler, and then they just name it with Predict, so it's an automatic draw too. My opponent has 3 card types in graveyard already. Dragon Rage Channeler is a 3/3 as of next turn, in all likelihood. Okay. This is the point where I'm basically dead. I think for viewer entertainment, I'm just gonna concede here. I'm just like not going to beat my opponent's 7-card hand when I have missed 5-ish land drops. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and they've got some really fun things in the works. In addition to being one of the premier decklist sites out there, they are also going to become a social media website as well. Now, this isn't going to replace Twitter, and this is still something that's in development. It's not finished, there's no timeline for when exactly this is going to be released, but at some point, you'll be able to use Moxfield as a place to talk about Magic the Gathering. This is a mock-up, and keep an eye on Moxfield. They're doing big things. Okay, my hand is 100% a keep. I just have to figure out which way I want to sequence it. It's just a question of whether or not I want to play things uncounterably. If I want to play the White Plume Adventurers uncounterably, I can do so on turn 2. Or I can just jam one, and if it doesn't resolve, it doesn't resolve, and I'll do one uncounterably on turn 2. Making my mana a little bit awkward in process. I think that's fine. I think it's probably correct to be aggressive here. Unless I get wastelanded, I do not want this Thalia. It's just the lowest impact card here. Let's see if we get to start snowballing this game. Oh, we do. I'll get my basic planes for my Undercity, pass the turn, and I can play another one next turn. And this is going to go fast. I can also just play an Anointed Peacekeeper to stop some combo nonsense that my opponent might be doing if it looks like they're doing something unfair. which it most certainly does look like. Ooh, into Basic Mountain, though. That's interesting. Are we burning? Ooh, we are playing goblins. Sure. I get to untap a creature? Yeah, I get to untap a creature. Let's go to Forge. Make this creature large. The 3/3 Vigilance is cool. I don't really think I need to play that immediately. There's not really cards that I'm worried about my opponent casting, since I get to untap a 5/5 specifically. I guess there's Fury if my opponent is main decking that. Actually, I guess that's a reason enough to go ahead and do that. Alright. Let's play this. Take a look at my opponent's hand over there. Okay. My opponent has one land and no way to connect with Goblin Lackey. I'll just name Munitions Expert so that they can't remove my creatures. And I should take this game out in short order, I think. Yeah, that costing 4 now is a pretty big deal. So this drops my opponent to 14. I will untap my White Plume Adventurer. And yeah, I think we're done. This is what I was looking forward to doing. I will sideboard very minimally here. Probably these 4 cards. Containment Priest actually is probably playable and good. We've got 6 cards I could actually look at. Ooh, Suppression Field is probably clutch here. Spirit of Labyrinth is not particularly interesting. Thalias are not particularly interesting. This is going to slow down my deck a little bit, and it's not like I'm super keen on a playset of Palace Jailer versus Goblins as a go-wide deck. It is just another removal spell, even if it's a temporary one. I think that's better than a 2/1 Thalia for Striking Body. That seems okay. Oh, I forgot about my Chalices. My Chalices aren't very good. That's a mistake. This should be a Thalia. Is this hand a keep? With turn 1 Suppression Field. No viable turn 2 play. Probably not. Like, Suppression Field is great and all, but I think I need more mana than just this. He says as he draws 2 lands. I think I'll keep this. Solitude keeps me from losing to an immediate Goblin Lackey. And Suppression Field is very good against my opponent's deck, especially like the Horde Master versions. I will absolutely require help from the top of the deck, though. Like, yeah, okay, good. That's the sort of thing that I want to see here. That is not another land. I'm okay, like, I have 2 more draw steps to hit one, so, like, it very much is not the end of the world. So I just play Cavern into Suppression Field on my next turn almost 100% of the time. And I've definitely got ways of recouping card advantage from pitch casting a Solitude, which I expect to have to do on something. I don't really know what that something is right now, but I expect to have to do it. That is a land, and a good one at that. Probably goes on Human, given hand. And we'll throw down the Suppression Field. Ooh, nice. No response on the Aether Vial. We're in the clear for a little while. Alright, Vial goes up, Mogwar Marshal dies. Worth noting that this does make them cast 2 more. It's not like this is a Null Rod. They will still have the option to use this. The Shalak Mons is probably going to eat a Solitude. Yeah, I will take that one. That's fine. Another Palace Jailer. I think I'm interested in playing Seasoned Dungeoneer before Palace Jailer. This just guarantees another land drop, and that's super important for if I get wastelanded. Alright, take the initiative. Getting my basic planes. And we can pitch cast the Solitude if we need to. I'm not going to go for it immediately, and that may punish me. But I'd rather my opponent make kind of a bad attack in the first place. Yeah, this is why initiative is important. Alright, there's a Horde Master. Anyway, I'd rather my opponent make kind of a bad attack and I turn it into a worse attack. I could actually... where does this damage go? On damage to any target. I could actually just block this with my 3/4. And then Solitude this. and then I only take 2 damage on this, which can be turned into a 3rd damage, I'll lose the initiative, but I can take it back on my turn. Guess it's a little awkward if a 3-mana Lord happens. Let's see if anything happens in response here. Let's attempt to remove this. Okay, nice. I'll go ahead and do my block. Alright, so my opponent gets the initiative, and then they can deal 1 damage to me. Yep. Alright, they get their basic mountain. Outside of that basic mountain, they have 1 card left. Ooh, they are not crashing in. Or sorry, they are not wastelanding me, which means they have something they want to put in with the Aether Vial. A little awkward if I get wastelanded mid-combat, huh? Alright. Tell me what you got. Okay, I have to recheck what Explore does. Reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand if it's a land, otherwise put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, then put it back or put it into your graveyard. I would rather put that card back, put that card into graveyard. Alright, good stuff. I now get the initiative. I will take the Forge, put 2 +1/+1 counters on my creature. This could be a little bit awkward, but I think I'm good with doing this. We're getting into some weird sub-games here. We'll take out a token. I'm not going to play a land here. See if I draw like something cool like a Solitude. Not really. Oh! Opponent did not have something to put in with because of the suppression field. I thought for sure that's what that meant. I basically 100% would have wastelanded, unless the last card in their hand is just Muxus. That's very possible. Okay, so this is now Trap, which will drain my opponent for 5. Which is disgusting. Ooh. This is gearing up very quickly. How do I beat Muxus? I can hit my opponent for 8. I can't kill my opponent this turn. I cannot take out any of their lands. How do I beat my opponent playing Muxus? I guess Seasoned Dungeoneer means that I just 100% have lethal next turn. Just going to get protection from creatures no matter what. I guess this looks like this. Play this pre-combat. Junk my opponent's token. Crash in with both of these. Oh, you aren't any of these types. Okay, so it does automatically target itself. I don't care about you at this point. You can go into graveyard again. Yeah. Opponent is at 3. If we draw Solitude, didn't draw Solitude. We'll see if my opponent can go land into Muxus into lethal damage. Because if they don't, Seasoned Dungeoneer just gets in for lethal. They have to do 16 through 1 blocker. Okay, there's 6. It's Muxus, but it's no activated abilities. My opponent has no mana. Okay, that's GG in my favor. Yep, and opponent sees the writing on the wall. Okay, that was cool. GG's. Okay, my hand is absolutely a keep. I'll have to figure out how I want to play it. Opponent's a fan of the channel. Like, if I just ignore the whole Chalice of the Void thing that's in my hand, I can just Chrome Mox, put Thalia under it, play White Plume Adventurer on turn 1, lose City of Traders on turn 2 some portion of the time to cast Seasoned Dungeoneer. It's probably better to play Chalice of the Void on 1, take 3 off of Amaria's Call, and then start playing threats. But I'm not 100% sure. I don't have heuristics built up for this deck. Very confident Thalia goes under there. Play this, take the damage. Let's attempt a Chalice of the Void. Versus a blue deck, this, like, very much is probably worth dealing with immediately. Versus a non-blue deck, its impact is much lessened. Oh, shit. It's Reanimator. So, I believe I'm supposed to play Seasoned Dungeoneer. It will technically scale faster because of the exploring. My Chalice was probably good. So my opponent now is going to have to make 2 land drops in order to do anything because of Chalice of the Void, and they might not have 2 land drops. Or I might draw Suppression Field or Thalia or something. Oh, fuck. Alright. I'm basically dead to that card. Am I literally dead to that card? All of my removal is creature-based? Fuck, I am literally dead to that card. Oh no, no, it's not legendary. Is it? Not legendary. Um, shit, yeah. I don't think I have anything here. That feels bad. Alright. I have a pile of hate here. 4 Leyline, 2 Containment Priest, Rest in Peace for sure. Alice Jailer, Sanctum Prelate, Mindbreak Trap are all playable as well. Just playable, though. Maybe not good. While Suppression Field, I think, is a fine Game 1 deck, I think those slots become Leyline of the Void. From there, I don't know that I'm super interested in Solitude. I am trying to keep the creature from entering play, not answer it once it's already in play. I think I'd rather keep my things that just clock quickly. From here, I might play a couple of Council's Judgment just so I have outs to a creature getting in play. Like, just so that same exact thing that just happened doesn't happen again. Maybe Sanctum Prelate fills the last slot. I don't think I need Mindbreak Trap when I'm on the play. I might play it when I'm on the draw. This hand doesn't do anything. Like, it's perfectly reasonable versus a lot of decks, but it's just not fast enough here. I get turn 1 a lot of the times if I keep this hand. I think I just pitch this and go to 5. Turn 1, Chalice of the Void. Turn 2, Anointed Peacekeeper. This land. 1, 2, 3. That's reasonable. City of Traders goes back here, and then probably Emeria's Call. Yeah, it's a little rough that this is a 5. Alright. Now, unfortunately, the same sort of thing that can happen as last game did, with my opponent just hard discarding and then getting something out of their graveyard that way. But I'm a little better equipped to deal with that this time around. Are we doing, no, okay. Nothing else is happening here. Oh, that's really good. Human into my Anointed Peacekeeper. Ooh, they've got Sheoldred as tech. I probably just name Animate Dead here. I probably let them cast a Sheoldred, or like let them keep the Sheoldred, because I can just name that with Anointed Peacekeeper, or otherwise get in with Seasoned Dungeoneer. Yeah, I'll name Animate Dead, this first one. Yeah, my opponent, I don't know if my opponent kept a good hand. Like, it's not like it's terrible or anything, but like, their plan was Thoughtseize myself into Reanimate. I don't know how strong that is compared to taking a mulligan. Yeah, I have a Chalice. Yeah, this is why I didn't name Sheoldred, is because Dark Ritual specifically was not a live draw to do what we just saw there. Oh, disgusting. Although I am bullying my favorite fucking card. Yeah. Bully Sheoldred. Sheoldred, forgive me. I'm working on making updates to my Sheoldred EDH deck. I'm hoping to get in some games next week. Got some CEDH stuff scheduled. Yeah, stopped the Sheoldred. And these Anointed Peacekeepers are really good. So this drops my opponent to 10. I have 9 damage next turn. Although I have dealt some amount of damage to myself. Twins. Yeah, I'll name Bloodstained Mire. Do I want to show my opponent that trick? No, they can just fetch end of turn if I show them that trick. I'll just name Sheoldred again. Just in case that somehow slips in play. I could probably sit here for a while and think about exactly what card I should name, but feels like this one's over. On the draw, I think I will take these Mindbreak Traps and maybe go down 2 Seasoned Dungeoneers. This still leaves me with 23 threats. Seems fine. I maybe shouldn't be playing the Council's Judgments. Whatever. It's a white card. It imprints to Chrome Mox. We're largely looking for a Leyline of the Void hand when I'm on the draw. So we'll mulligan this first one. This is an acceptable Leyline of the Void hand. I don't know what goes back. Probably the white Plume. It's probably more important to play the hate cards here. Creature types are a little awkward. Cleric's pretty good for 1 Cavern of Souls. Still think I throw this back, though. See if my opponent has a Serenity in their opener. Delta? Are we just looting? Okay, it is a Thoughtseize. That's fine. My opponent gets to pick which one of these bears I get to keep in before someone in the YouTube comments goes, "Those aren't bears, they're not tutus." Okay, that's the one I would have taken as well. Oh, hey. It's Friend. I think I lead on Ancient Tomb here. I'm not expecting Cabal Therapy from this deck. So, well, not that that matters. You know what? Never mind that comment. That was a stupid comment. I think I lead on Ancient Tomb in case I want to, like, pivot something next turn. Oh, this is the desperation Entomb. That is just Entomb that thins. I've been there before. Alright, what did they send to the Shadow Realm? Another Entomb. Respectable. Now it's time for everyone's favorite, Cavern on Archon. I believe this is better than playing the Thalia, because this is going to stop Serenity from getting into play, while also taxing a lot of other stuff, and it's particularly good versus fetch lands. Unmask is fine. My opponent says GG's, I kept BS. Yep. GG's, friend. Okay, round 4. Hand is pretty unimpressive. I think I'd rather mulligan this hand than keep it. Like, I have Ancient Tomb plus a white source, but it's a white source that doesn't cast Suppression Field unless I, like, do damage to myself. And, like, this damage plus this damage is probably not good when I have no clock to back it up. This is a much stronger hand. I will be keeping this, probably pitching Ancient Tomb here. 2 Ancient Tombs is not usually a recipe for success. Let's see if we can start this game off with getting a Force of Will out of my opponent's hand, or otherwise shutting off their early game plan. Mission success. Alright, we're playing against Delver again, unfortunately. So Wasteland will be quite good against me here. Ooh, they don't have it. And they don't have a Dragon Rage Channeler. Hot damn. I believe I play Caracas Thalia this turn. Like, I could wait a little bit to better protect the Thalia, but this just makes all of my opponent's cantrips and dazes and Force of Wills more awkward. And next turn's the big turn for me. Like, if I resolve this card, the game is probably effectively over. Not literally, because Murktide Regent is a very dumb magic card. But this passes the Lightning Bolt test, which is a huge deal in this matchup. Alright, what are you doing? Bulk into Lightning Bolt my good friend Thalia before I can untap Caracas. That is correct. So Daze is on the table again. Play. Ow. Do this. See if it works. It's so good if it does. I've dealt 9 points of damage to myself. Yeah. I still think I've got to do it. Like, I can't just pass the turn here and then get Wastelanded and then, like, never cast a 4-drop. That is just, like, not gonna fly. Alright, it is Murktide Regent. If Palace Jailer resolves, I'm very good. And if it doesn't, I'm very dead. Chalice is cool and all, but this needs to happen right now, because I have dealt myself so much damage. Fun game of Magic. GG's. I just lose to a 2-mana 7/7 after having my relevant plays countered. Okay, I can die immediately to Lightning Bolt. I need to draw Solitude as my draw for turn. Oh, Solitude's probably not good enough anymore, since my opponent got that as well. Alright, show myself the door. Go to sideboarding, probably board similarly to the last time around. I don't remember how I fell on Council's Judgment. I think I got rid of Suppression Field and Thalia's. That sound right? For these 7, 1 Council's Judgment. And did I play the second? Second's probably reasonable. Get rid of a Spirit or a Seasoned Dungeoneer. The protection on this is gross, and the butt is gross. Like, Spirit gives me 1 more early game play, which matters, but doesn't stop Expressive Iteration. I think I'm just going to go ahead and trim that. This is a reasonable hand that's very bad versus Wasteland. I still think it's a keep, but I'm not happy about it. Alright, so let's play a Leyline, and then we'll do Caracas Pass. Gives me an attempt at an Archon on turn 2, which probably gets countered, and then hopefully paves the way for these things to take over the game. Okay. I mean, Archon is decent versus a Delver start. Oh, thank you! See if I get dazed. Not really in a situation to do anything about it. It's very good if it resolves, because it's very difficult for my opponent to just have, like, basic Mountain and Lightning Bolt here. Otherwise, I get at least one turn of this Archon being in play. Nice. Now, if the Delver flips, I have some weird decisions. Alright. They have a Brainstorm. Oh, that's a bad play. If they're going to attack, they should have attacked first before making that land drop. Because now I can block and it's more worry-free. I think I'm taking the 3 and then attempting to kill this thing with Palace Jailer. Cavern of Souls would have been a sick draw. I think I just play this and see if it resolves. My last spell did, but that doesn't mean a lot. Oh, cool. My opponent just didn't have any counterspells. I think I'm not really changing anything when I'm on the draw here. Like, I consider playing one Spirit just as something else that is going to bait out Force of Will effects. Or I could, like, trim one Seasoned Dungeoneer for Spirit of Labyrinth, but my opponent cannot daze everything. Unexciting, but defensible? I can put this on Cleric and all of my cards are uncounterable. And I can pitch cast a Solitude for if my opponent has an early creature that I want to answer. Ooh, nice. So do I play the Ancient Tomb on turn 1? Really bad versus Wasteland. I don't think I'm in a hurry this game. If it happens, it happens. But, like, with multiple Solitudes here, I'm not dead quickly. And I don't think I want to lead on planes and then just, like, play some of these cards counterably when, like, a fast White Plume Adventurer might just end this game, or Anointed Peacekeeper into Anointed Peacekeeper. It just gives me a lot of vigilant, like, offense and defense. Yeah, this is okay. Like, it's obviously not good for me, but I signed up for this. Yeah, that's fine. I can play a Solitude around days if I even feel like I need to do that. Mox. A little bit awkward. I think I'm going to take a hit from a Delver. I'll definitely take one from an unflipped Delver. The Delver flips. It doesn't. It might be a different story. Yeah, I will absolutely let my opponent use these resources trying to set up a Delver flip that isn't necessarily going to happen. I think I'm in on killing this thing. Let's pitch an Anointed Peacekeeper. It's a little awkward if they then fetch and play Dragon Rage Channeler when they, like, otherwise might not have. Okay, that did not happen. Oh, baby. Yeah. I like this. Mox, imprint. I think Peacekeeper. I don't know. Maybe I imprint the Solitude, but, like, this is going to save me from the thing that beats me later. Let's imprint the Peacekeeper, name Cleric, and get this going. This gives me my 4th land drop towards the Solitude. Oh, are they going to stifle this initiative trigger? Or are they just going to Lightning Bolt my creature? Alright, they're going to Lightning Bolt my creature. That's fine. That didn't need to happen immediately, but I guess there's no punish for doing so. So this probably means that this time around I'm likely to go up the right side. Yep. They've found a Dragon Rage Channeler, which is something that can let them take the initiative. Oh, there's only 3 card types in there. There's not a creature in there because I exiled the creature. Okay, there's a chance that this thing might not do cool stuff. Yeah, so let's scry 2. Lost Well. I do not want this land. Spirit of the Labyrinth is kind of an average draw. I'm going to try to do better than that. Cavern qualifies as better. Cavern on Elemental next turn is very good. Alright, land drop. Uncounterable. Take the initiative. Arena Goads, which is interesting. I think I'm just going to take the treasure token, though. I think I'm just going to take the treasure token still. It helps me cast Solitude if I get Wastelanded again. So I'm hoping to dodge Lightning Bolt, I guess, and I'm hoping to cast a creature or artifact going into the graveyard. Archetype Regent here is totally fine. I have uncounterable Solitude coming up on my turn. Could have gotten away with the goad. I still like my line, though. So this gives me a 4/1 skeleton token with menace. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. I could immediately look at top 10 and try to hit a removal creature from there. I don't think I want to do that, though. I think I just want to cast the Uncounterable Solitude, get this out of the way, and just take it naturally next turn. The cost of missing there is so incredibly high. This is a lot of life for my opponent. Alright, Murktide Regent out of the way. Crash on in with my Orc for some damage. Opponent goes to 21. I now feel pretty good about this game, but stuff can happen. Mystic Sanctuary. Yeah, like EI is obviously very good here, but things that are not immediately impacting the board are much worse. It's amazing how differently these games feel when my opponent does and does not have the free counter spells. Yeah, junk the days. Finding a Delver, that's not a problem. Like, I am the beatdown here. Okay, that only kills one of my creatures. Goodbye, skeleton token. I knew thee well. Okay, cool. Now we'll venture. We'll look at the top 10 and get a creature. Jailer, probably just Jailer, Dragon Rage Channeler. Although a very large Anointed Peacekeeper is also pretty cool. Then again, so is the Monarchy. Goodbye, Dragon Rage Channeler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's actually castable next turn, interestingly. So if I play this turn, I just get a land drop. I can use that and then cast this next turn. Alright. Crash in for 6. Opponent goes to 14. Goes on Cleric. Let's tap differently. Do this, and then the Artifact mana, just in case something goes wrong. Yeah. That was a beating. Very happy to win this versus Delver. I don't know that this matchup is good as the deck is configured right now. Feel like some Swords to Plowshares type cards to get me through the early game might be important. Okay, my hand's definitely a keep. I think I'm going to take the first turn off to cast Chalice of the Void. And the only question is, like, logistically, how do I do that? So 100% of the time, Chrome Mox is imprinting Amaria's Call. That's just happening. And then it's just a question of, like, do I want to play a Cairn of Souls on turn 1 so I don't take 2 points of damage from Ancient Tomb? Or not? If I play Chrome Mox this turn, there's some worlds where something annoying can happen. Where, like, my Chalice gets countered and then my Chrome Mox gets eaten by a Prismatic Ending, and that would be annoying. But I don't think I want to start taking the Ancient Tomb damage immediately. I think I will do this. I'll imprint Amaria's Call, this on Cleric, and attempt to do this to protect my threat. It may be that with this deck, I'm just supposed to jam this card no matter what on turn 1 if I have the option to. Unsure. I need a lot more games with this deck to kind of learn the ins and outs. Like, it's a very different beast from the versions of White Stompy that already exist. Oh, our Chalice is on the wrong number. Fuck. I don't know that I want to commit this Cavern to anything yet, but I also don't really want to take 3 life. I'm okay with putting this on Human, I think. And then let's cast my favorite Orc. Obviously, it resolves. And I grab a basic Plains for my trouble. This is a matchup where I want my Chalice on 0 rather than 1, and that's a relative rarity. Okay, this is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this additional mana acceleration into something like Psy. That's just a lot of chump blockers. Yep. So the initiative is going to be a fight, and it's a fight that my opponent is going to be better suited towards winning. I am in trouble. This is a game that I actually would have done better in if I was on the draw. Because on the draw, I would have done Chalice on 0 into this on turn 1, and that would have been so much stronger. Are they gonna... Oh. Okay. I don't know if I agree with that one. That's gonna make future baubles worse. Maybe they're just gonna plan on playing this one out with the initiative. And, like, that is what it is. Let's make this thick. Crumbox is a very bad draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Crumbox could potentially be the 7th. This is realistically a playable card this game. Other than the fact that I need a lot, and I mean a lot of white mana to make this a reality. Actually, Crumbox is not going to work because of that. I'm in trouble. I can just attack with this. Like, the attack's fine. My opponent can chump. Yeah, and I get to untap this creature, which is cool and all, but my opponent is going to take the initiative, and I am going to have a hard time taking it back. Hopefully my opponent did a dumb by playing this Chalice on 0, though. And, like, that can potentially allow me to be okay as this game goes long. My opponent's going to get to make their land drop here. Or, well, okay, I guess they played a seat, but they're going to get to make their next land drop because they are about to take the initiative with these Thopters. Alright, I got nothing. Take the initiative. And they do have the basic island. Ooh, is that a sacrifice? That is a sacrifice to Chalice with Sai. Okay, that's a lot of mana. But it opens up Baubles again. Okay, that's exactly what we're seeing. Got one Kataki in the sideboard for this matchup. That's still worth a Bauble to them. Or sorry, that's still worth a Thopter to them, so that's not a mistake in doing that. Seasoned Dungeoneer would be a sick top deck. That's not bad either. So let's go ahead and play this now. Makes a lot of the Baubles and Sai significantly worse. I'll crash in for 5. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. If I get a white card next turn, I can go with Amaria's Call. Guess maybe I could have just played this turn. Now that my opponent sacked their Chalice, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe that was a mistake. Giving them more time to draw Force of Will. I don't know, Suppression Fields is kind of important for Emery. Stopping, like, Sai block sacrifice is nice. It's really awkward if I draw, like, a Seasoned Dungeoneer or something like that this turn, though, that I want to play. I think I still end up making the same play, but I would have thought about it for longer. I don't know, maybe I don't. I am unsure there. I didn't spend enough time thinking about it. My opponent starts, like, thought casting and stuff. A little bit of trouble. Yeah, that's not great for me. Kappa Cannoneer or equivalent power level card starts getting scary very quickly. I'm down to 16 from this attack, which is fine. Yeah, there's the card that kind of punishes my line. Will be uncounterable, though. So there we go. I take the initiative. Absolutely trap. Drain my opponent for 5. They go to 11. Now I'm about to get protection from creatures. I'm going to hit my opponent for 5 or 6 and then lethal my opponent next turn, assuming I don't get, like, auto-Warid. Okay, this is getting bounced to my hand. Do I replay it right now? If I replay it right now, it will be counterable. My opponent in their 3 cards will need 2 of those to be Force of Will plus blue card. I think I'm into it. I think the tempo matters a lot here. Imprint. And play it. Okay, great. So I now get to draw a card. It's an Ancient Tomb. Guess I'll play that out. Alright, Urza Saga ticks up. We'll see what my opponent can do. It's definitely scary. This is more of a game than I was expecting it to be. I'm going to take 4 in the air. Going to 10. My opponent's going to take the initiative back. Which means that I'm actually going to be at 5. And I'm facing down lethal in the air next turn. Not sure that I really have anything that kills my opponent next turn. I'm at 5. Okay, that's just another Thopter. Land. I'm deterministically dead in the air. I do get Throne of the Dead 3, but I don't know that that actually matters. I'll attack with this. So I guess I want to put this into my graveyard. Opponent goes to 5. I take the initiative, do Throne of the Dead 3. 2, 4, 6. My opponent has 6 attackers. I am at 5, not counting Sai or Urza Saga. Solitude can remove 1. And I take exactly 5 in the air and die. Archon of Maria can block 1. I take exactly 5 in the air and die. If I take the initiative again, I just get a basic land. Damn! I am so close. I'm going to take the Archon and bluff another card. I mean, it's a bluff that my opponent has to call, though. Alright, my opponent is taking 2 to make an Urza Saga Construct token. Because of Suppression Field, notably. That is a big construct. Not floating mana. Well, I can see the win on board now. Like, bouncing Archon of Emeria should guarantee a win, I guess. Oh shit, did I have it by solituding my Seasoned Dungeoneer? Gaining 4 life, going to 9 instead. Then I can't crash in for lethal. It would have to be solituding my White Plume Adventurer, putting me to 8. Okay. I don't think that's going to beat this board still, but I... Wait, hold on. Can Solitude even kill my own creatures? I'll double check wording. Yeah, I'm just short here. GG's. Let's double check wording on Solitude. Yeah, 1 other target creature. Yeah. Okay. So what do I want to do in this matchup? Taki is the obvious one. Not really sure how I feel about Alice Jailer. Not great. Sanctum Prelate on 0 is probably good. I don't know that I want Rest in Peace or Leyline or anything. These are technically playable, but not great. Mindbreak Tap is technically playable, but not great. Chalice goes on 0 instead. My cards are pretty reasonable. My opponent has this go wide plan with Thopters that aren't great versus Palace Jailer. Yeah, that means Palace Jailer goes, and I just play these 2. On the play, I don't think I'm going to play a Council's Judgment. Like, it's a flexible answer, and it's something that can get rid of a Kappa Cannoneer, but on the play, I think I just try to kill my opponent. This is a keep, I think. It's just a question of whether or not I want to expose an Archon to Force of Will on turn 1. I think I do. It's so incredibly potent on turn 1. But I think I keep the second one, rather than keep Spirit of the Labyrinth. So do Ancient Tomb into Archon. And it's nuts if my opponent doesn't have exactly Force of Will. Nice. So my opponent will probably, like, bobble or equivalent as the turn that they can do now. Yeah. Yep, there we go. Enjoy. Another one. I think that means it's worth putting Tavern on Archon, which is not a common event. Now, where were these flyers last game? Alright, opponent's at 18. Hit for 4, then 6 in terms of my general pattern. Ooh. Oh yeah, these Archons are doing heavy lifting. They got ripped muscles under those wings. Draw your card. Oh yeah. I'm gonna attack you. Oh, this is the world's most expensive Dismember. Yeah, this is fine. My opponent will go to 10 here. And I'm just going to opt to play the uncounterable Archon this turn. And then I can play Seasoned Dungeoneer next turn. I'm not super keen on jamming the Seasoned Dungeoneer pre-combat here, because it's Clerics, Rogues, Warriors, and Wizards that get powered up by it, not Archons. Oh, disgusting. Oh, yeah. This is satisfying. Take your draw. I might even play that over Seasoned Dungeoneer, actually. Yeah. Good call. Okay. So now, on the draw, do I want some Palace Jailers? Some of my cards, like Thalia, are going to be noticeably worse on the draw. So, like, I could play Council Judgment as something that helps answer Sai and friends. I don't think I want any Thalias on the draw. I think let's board in, like, 4 removal spells for those. I think the Thalias are totally reasonable on the play. I just think it's a tough ask on the draw. This is absolutely a keep. This hand is very strong. I would love to draw... I was gonna say I would love to draw Cavernous Souls, but it's actually a little tough to decide what to put it on. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Always Chrome Mox. Imprinting Amaria's Call. It's always Ancient Tomb into one of these two cards. It's just a question of which one. Let's do this while I think, because I'm never playing Kataki on turn 1. I think it's the Peacekeeper. It's probably good enough to force of will. So, I could name Lotus Petal here. I could name Sai here. I could name Urza Saga here. I'm not super scared of the Sai, because I have the Kataki, and it's going to resolve. That probably means naming Urza Saga. Although I could still just name Sai, then my opponent goes... My opponent could go Urza Saga Petal Petal, then Sai. Sai for 5 mana. That'll probably be okay with me, though. Name Sai. Alright, cool. That's a tough one, though. Alright. Seat. Okay. We're gonna see just Petal Petal Sai, like I expected. Uh-huh. Oh, it's a Thought Monitor. Sure. So there are now some worlds in which my stuff doesn't resolve. Oh, that's very good if it works. I think that's my play. I think I get greedier with the Kataki. There's just so much card advantage if my opponent didn't draw Force of Will in one of their 3 cards here. Nice. Alright, exile that. Become the Monarch. Hit in for 3. Opponent drops to 15. I get a card at end step, and I'm just trying to smooth it out so that I get to play Kataki and some other card in the same turn cycle. That's fine. Bobble's fine. Kappa Cannoneer is annoying. That's just bigger than my stuff as of right now. Alice Jailer's not good at answering that unless I draw some extra mana. Okay, so this is Ward 4. I would need 8 mana to answer this. I'm not quite there. What do I do instead? Probably just White Plume into Kataki. I don't force damage this turn. This is awkward. My opponent's going to get this back. I'm also thinking whether or not I should play Ancient Tomb in case I draw bonus mana that allows me to actually get to 8 next turn to Palace Jailer away the Kappa. We might not actually be in the realm where that's realistic, and maintaining my life total is more important. Alright, get my land, play Plains, play Kataki, which hurts my opponent far, far more than it does me. Attacks aren't good this turn. It has a 5/5. I'm just chilling. See what I draw. Fuck yeah. Triggers. Let my opponent sort this out. I guess technically Kappa Cannoneer is not blockable until my opponent makes a creature. Ooh, they're making white mana? Oh, that's just probably the top color. Let's not overthink that. Seed will presumably pay for itself. Oh no, opponent wants the blue mana. The Urza Saga is a guaranteed artifact, though, to make Kappa Cannoneer unblockable. I think that's more important to leave untapped, although I don't know one of the cards in their hand. Okay, they agree. Okay, it's unblockable. It's getting answered on my turn. See if I take 6 or 7 here. Dealer's choice for my opponent. Alright. If they have another island. Oh, shoot, these are my triggers. As my opponent is taking the initiative and the Monarch. Alright, get bigger, draw some cards. And then now we'll see if they have an island. They do. Alright, they're taking an extra card, which is unfortunately more looks at counter spells, which is definitely relevant. Looks like this is just paying for itself. My life total wasn't quite so low. I'd consider tapping Ancient Tomb there. Ooh, Solitude is good. Where am I at? About to get +1/+1 counters. Okay. I guess let's start here. I really need this to resolve. Now I have 3 mana available. Do I have 12 damage? I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 damage. And I'm getting Forge this turn, not Trap. I cannot cast another spell other than Solitude. So I am deterministically dead to my opponent attacking in with Kappa Cannoneer. I was so close here. This loss may have been my fault in some capacity for misevaluating when I should have played something. Like, I played the Kataki a turn earlier, the Kappa Cannoneer doesn't hit play, but then my opponent is Urza Saga-ing again, which I'm better equipped at beating. Yep. Alright, I will throw in the towel. GG's. Closing thoughts on the deck list. This is a very good starting point. I don't think this list is here yet. I feel like this list needs more abilities to cast the White Plume Adventurers and Seasoned Dungeoneers on turn 1. I think I'm interested in some number of Lotus Petals to help make that happen, or just, like, straight up playing Simian Spirit Guide or something like that, even though it's off color. This archetype does really well when it just gets to resolve one of its critical cards early, and I think you need more acceleration than just Chrome Mox, Ancient Tomb, and one City of Traders. I think the mono red deck is probably more successful at going and casting some of these cards very quickly. So I think I want a little bit more mana here. Most of the cards in this deck throughout the league pulled their weight. I'm least sold on Palace Jailer, probably. Like, the card did some serious work, but the Monarchy definitely backfired in that last round there, and, like, maybe it was my fault for playing out that card and, like, trying to, like, push damage and draw some cards to get deeper into my deck. Like, maybe that's on me. But I've, in general, in Legacy, felt like the Monarch has gotten harder and harder to defend. It's not just this mechanic where you just always get to keep it, and we very much saw that with Initiative, right? So I'm not a very good defensive deck, so I don't know how much I like Palace Jailer. I think I'm actually just interested in the 2 colorless and 1 white, just exile a creature until this thing leads the battlefield that transforms card. I'm forgetting the name of it, maybe Inquisitor or something. Remind me in the comments. But yeah, I think I'm more interested in that than Palace Jailer. That's also not something that requires white, which I think matters. Although I'd have to check its creature type for Seasoned Dungeoneer to, like, see if it's one of these types, because I think that matters. But this is very clearly going to be a powerful strategy. It has the turn 1 wins that something like Chalice and Archon can provide, while also having this initiative axis. This is something you should absolutely have your eye on. This deck is going to pick up in popularity, and people are going to experiment with this. It already has good paper results, and let's see where it goes in the future. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And as a reminder, if you want to see some other deck list on the channel, or you want to mess around with one of these, all that information is always available in the video description. See ya!